In late August of 2021, I would leave my home in Massachusetts and move 1,100 miles south to Jekyll Island in South Georgia. Here and over the next year, I would commit 1,800 hours of service as an AmeriCorps member at a place called the Georgia Sea Turtle Center. During this year of service, I got the opportunity to gain new skills and experiences, work and live alongside a great group of people, and explore Jekyll Island, Georgia, and Florida. For the purpose of this video, I wanted to tell you more about Jekyll Island and the Georgia Sea Turtle Center, show some of the cool things I did as an AmeriCorps member, and share some of the memories from the year I lived in South Georgia. So join me in a year in the life of living on Jekyll Island. To begin, let me introduce you to Jekyll Island. Jekyll is one of several barrier islands located off the coast of Georgia in a region known as the Golden Isles. While the island has a long history going back centuries, it was purchased by the state of Georgia and designated as a state park in 1947, which it has remained ever since. Located roughly between Savannah, Georgia and Jacksonville, Florida, and just off Interstate 95, Jekyll Island has become quite the year-round tourist destination. From its famous driftwood beaches, to its long stretches of flat beaches, to beautiful forested landscapes, and to beautiful wetlands, to its wide range of recreational amenities, Jekyll Island has something to offer for pretty much anyone. So if you decide on visiting the island, it is also pretty easy to get to. If you're coming to the island from the south, I recommend taking exit 29 off 95. From there, it's just a 5.5 mile drive southeast on Route 17. If you're visiting the island from the north, there are several exits you can take off of 95 that will drop you off in downtown Brunswick. From there, you can work your way to Route 17 and head south, crossing over the Sydney-Lanier Bridge, which will give you breathtaking views of the Atlantic Coastal Waterway. Regardless of which direction you come from, you will eventually see several signs indicating the turn onto the Jekyll Island Causeway, a 6-mile stretch that takes you through what appears to be an endless stretch of salt marsh. You will eventually get to a toll booth, where most cars will have to pay an $8 fee to get onto the island, but larger vehicles such as campers, RVs, etc. will have to pay about a $12 fee. From there, you will cross over the Jekyll Island Bridge, and then you have arrived onto the island. The Georgia Sea Turtle Center was founded in 2007 by this man, Dr. Terry Norton, who had the idea of creating a place in coastal Georgia where sick and injured sea turtles could be treated. Over the last 15 years, over 1,000 sea turtles have been admitted to the center, along with other native species of reptiles such as gopher tortoises, freshwater turtles, diamondback terrapins, more on them later, alligators, snakes, shorebirds, and raptors. But perhaps one of the coolest features of the Sea Turtle Center is that it is open for the public to come, meet, and learn about all the animals being treated there. The center is located off of Stable Road on Jekyll Island, and there is a parking area just north of it. When you arrive, you will see a welcome sign next to a brick path that is just a short walk from the entrance. After paying a cheap admission fee, you will walk into an interactive learning center where you can learn all about the life history of sea turtles, their conservation, and other species that the center works with.
What is the saltwater? In the middle of the ocean is a system of currents created by weather and wind patterns, which is called the North Atlantic Gyre. This gyre rotates clockwise as the piston.
But the best part of the Learning Center, in my opinion, is that there is a window where you can view into the treatment room of the hospital and see the veterinarian staff treating sea turtles and other animals. To get a closer look at the sea turtles and the other patients in the center's care, there is a door on the south end of the Learning Center that leads into a second building, the Pavilion. It is here in the Pavilion where all the patients are kept during their time at the center. You can see sea turtles swimming in their tanks and people working to care for them along with the other animals in care. Additionally, there are educators who will give presentations throughout the day on the patients so you can learn more about them and watch some sea turtles getting fed. At the end of your visit, you can swing by the gift shop, and any purchases you make here along with your admission fee all goes directly into funding the center. So this means that anyone can help the Georgia Sea Turtle Center in their mission to rescue, rehabilitate, educate the public on, and perhaps the best part, releasing sea turtles and other wildlife. During my time at the Georgia Sea Turtle Center, some of my favorite memories were attending sea turtle releases. After seeing these turtles come in with horrific injuries and making a full recovery, being able to send them back into the ocean was such a satisfying feeling. Most of the sea turtles that are released from the center are done so on Jekyll Island, and there are two methods in which this is accomplished. Both start the same, where the turtle is loaded into a transport bin, driven to the beach, and is then carried from the parking area to the shoreline. After that, the methods diverge depending on the size of the turtle. Larger turtles, which are almost always loggerhead sea turtles, are lifted from the bin and are placed directly onto the sand, where they then crawl into the ocean. When it came to loggerhead releases, the most memorable is when we released two adult females, Genie and Margo. Genie and Margo both arrived at the center in 2021 for different reasons. Genie had suffered boat strike injuries to her rostrum and carapace, and for months spent her days floating at the surface of her tank. It wasn't until one morning in September when she finally ate seafood for the first time while I was feeding her, which was a memorable event to say the least. From there on, it was only uphill for Genie, and despite missing some of her nose, she made a full recovery. Weighing more than 230 pounds, Margo was the largest sea turtle the center ever cared for. She arrived debilitated, covered in epibiota, and had some injuries and was very anemic. When I arrived at the center, Margo was no longer debilitated, but still had a lingering infection and had a low packed cell volume, or PCV. Otherwise, she was behaviorally healthy and required several people to remove her from her tank for treatments. Eventually, Genie and Margo both were ready to be released. So for the first time since before COVID, the Georgia Sea Turtle Center would hold a public release where over 1,000 people came to see both turtles return to the ocean. And here is some behind-the-scenes footage from that release.
We're gonna be the big celebrities now.
Are you gonna stay, or you want me to hop up there with you?
I'll be on. I probably can. Yeah. You should just grab it once.
Okay.
It's at the end.
Okay. Ready? I got this one.
I'm good.
Good. Set her down. 1, 2, 3, down. We're gonna put it right here.
I'm pulling out.
And then
Get your miss
and
bottle.
then you'll bring the other one in. Is that how your plan was, or?
Yeah, we can bring another one.
Do we need a temp gun in the mist bottle?
You need the, yes, I need all of that. And Ray, can we get the little kit from inside?
I got you, Ray.
Thank you. Go spray her down.
Just want me to spray her down all over?
Yeah, you can spray. She's 72, so she's really not.
Okay.
How's she doing? Do you need shade?
She's fine. No. I would.
Did you need anything?
All right, so we are bringing Genie down right now, and for our friends who may have recently joined, Genie arrived at the Georgia Sea Turtle Center on May 28, 2021, also from Jacksonville, Florida. Genie was a boat strike victim with a large chunk missing out her beak to the ocean.
Are you ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Okay, walk forward. You good, George?
Yep, I'm good.
That's good?
Yep.
Everybody doing okay? Yeah, I'm sure you're smiling.
Yeah.
As a reminder, friends, we are going to be very silent as our turtles return home to the ocean. And once we get the sign that they have made it successfully and back home, we will cheer. Counting on you, my cheering section.
Right here, good cheer. Here.
Go over to the Margo section.
Maybe a little further with her.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Right here is good.
Right here. Oh my God.
Thank you. Strokes.
So pull that back one at a time. I need it up here.
Everybody back off.
Back away?
Back off.
Go back that way.
Yep.
Get down.
Yep.
If you can just be as silent as possible, hold your applause, and hold your breath, and then once we get the sign, we can all cheer as loud as we can.
The second method for releasing sea turtles was removing them from their bins and walking them out into the ocean to be released. This was usually done with young turtles, and in my time was only done with Kemp's Ridleys and juvenile green sea turtles. To do this, the person with the turtle must walk out waist deep before placing the turtle into the ocean. Then they must watch for a few minutes in case something goes wrong with the turtle. Once that time passes and nothing goes wrong, hands are raised signaling the end of a successful release. In August of 2022, I got the opportunity to do my first ocean release with a juvenile green sea turtle and capture the whole experience on film.
Yep.
Taking the towel.
You're gonna hang on to him once we get after, when we're ready to release. You're gonna hold on to his back end and
Okay.
make sure he's moving his flipper's good and ready to go and knock him off. So don't let go until
Okay.
you know he's doing good. We want to get at least to our waist. What's going on, man?
I know.
In the water first, just hold on to it.
Let her go.
Try to keep an eye on her.
Okay, she went off that way.
As I mentioned earlier, I served as an AmeriCorps member during my time at the Georgia Sea Turtle Center, specifically in the husbandry department. My position had two roles: to assist staff with all aspects of daily animal husbandry and treatments, as well as to monitor the Jekyll Island causeway in the summer months for diamondback terrapins, which is what I want to talk about next. Diamondback terrapins are a unique turtle species because they are the only chelonians in North America that only live in estuaries, salt marshes, and other tidal brackish habitats. With Georgia containing 1/3 of all the salt marshes in the United States, you can imagine that it is a stronghold for terrapins, and that is mostly true. Thousands of terrapins have been documented in the surrounding salt marshes of Jekyll Island, but despite these massive populations, road mortality is a major threat to them. This is because from April to August, hundreds of gravid female terrapins will cross the Jekyll Island causeway to search for a spot to lay their eggs. To prevent these turtles from being hit by cars and to save injured ones, I would spend every day during that time patrolling the causeway in a van for crossing terrapins. Any uninjured terrapins we found crossing the road were safely removed, and before being released, we marked them and collected any morphometric data. If they were still gravid, these females were taken to designated nest boxes where they would have the opportunity to nest safely. Eggs from gravid females who ended up at the center were taken, incubated, and hatchlings born would be head-started for a period of time before being released back into the wild. In addition to serving in the husbandry department, I had the opportunity to volunteer in other AmeriCorps programs in different departments on Jekyll Island. This included being able to go out and help track eastern diamondback rattlesnakes with the conservation department, and going on a couple of beach patrols for nesting and hatchling sea turtles with the research department. From May to August, loggerhead sea turtles will come to Jekyll Island to nest at the beaches at night, and during the late summer and early fall, these nests will boil over and hatchlings will flee to the ocean. During my time on Jekyll, the record for number of sea turtle nests laid during a season on the island was broken, and for the first time, a male and female loggerhead sea turtle were recorded mating just feet from the shoreline. Being able to volunteer in these other departments was a lot of fun, really cool, and gave me additional skills and knowledge to help me in my career. Spending a year of my life living on a small island may have seemed like a long time to be in just one spot, but I was determined to explore as much of the surrounding areas that I could. For those of you who have followed my channel, you may have noticed that I posted several herping videos on YouTube showcasing reptiles and amphibians I found in Georgia and Florida. Herping was something that I spent a lot of my free time doing, and living on Jekyll Island, I didn't even have to go out of my way to try and find reptiles and amphibians. Just walking around my house, I documented at least 5 species of lizards, which included Mediterranean house geckos, green anoles, 5-line skinks, broad-headed skinks, and 6-line race runners. This was quite the contrast from growing up in the lizard void of Massachusetts, which only has one species, the Italian wall lizard, which isn't even native to North America. Walking around the island's wetlands, I could easily find alligators, soft-shell turtles, other freshwater turtles, and occasionally snakes. But to find everyone's favorite animal and other cool herps, I made countless trips off the island to road cruise, flip, and hike around Georgia and Florida. This was also a great way to visit places that I had never been to before, and a good segue into cool places to check out around Jekyll Island. Here are some cool places I visited while I was living on Jekyll Island. The town of Folkston, Georgia is just an hour away from Jekyll, and it is the gateway to the Everglades of Georgia, the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge, an area made up of 400,000 acres of protected habitat along the Georgia-Florida border. Okefenokee is a great place to explore, and it is a popular place for kayaking, hiking, and viewing wildlife. It is also an excellent place to look for herps, with more than 15,000 alligators and not to mention, it's very snaky. But if you want to visit the one and only Everglades, it is also very straightforward to get there from Jekyll Island. All you have to do is hop on 95 and pretty much drive straight south for 7 hours, and voila, you're in the Everglades. Or at least that's what I did in March when I spent 4 days camping and exploring there. I could spend an entire video talking about my time camping and visiting the Everglades National Park, and since I've already done that, all I will say is that it's a good place to see crocodiles.
You want me to move my light, or is that okay?
That's good. Oh my god, they're right
right at the shoreline. And Miami is loaded with invasive lizards. But if you like to be in more elevated places versus subtropical environments, but still want to drive 7 hours from Jekyll, head north on 95, take some back roads, and you will eventually end up in the southern Appalachian Mountains in North Georgia. Springer Mountain in Georgia marks the start or the end of the Appalachian Trail, a 2,100 mile plus hike all the way north to Mount Katahdin in Maine. Nearby is the town of Helen, Georgia, which retrofitted itself to resemble a German village and has become a popular tourist destination. Speaking of popular places to visit in Georgia, in Atlanta, just 4 hours northwest of Jekyll Island, is the Georgia Aquarium, which I was lucky to visit in April of 2022. The exhibits in this aquarium are just incredible, and there are plenty of cool things to see. However, the showstopper is without a doubt the Ocean Voyager, a 6.3 million gallon tank that is the only exhibit outside of Asia to house whale sharks. If you want to stay closer to Jekyll Island, there are plenty of places to check out between Brunswick and Jacksonville. One place I didn't get to visit that I recommend going to is Cumberland Island, the largest of the barrier isles in Georgia and just on the Georgia-Florida border. It can be accessed by ferry in St. Mary's, Georgia, and it is just a really cool place to spend a day exploring. So now you know there is plenty to see in and around Jekyll. My years spent living on Jekyll Island has since come to an end, and while there are many aspects of what was once my daily life that I will miss, I feel grateful and privileged of my time on the island. I highly recommend that at some point in your life that you visit Jekyll Island, especially the Georgia Sea Turtle Center, and I hope that your experience there is very enjoyable and memorable. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing to my channel and checking out some of my other content. See you later, Jekyll Island.